take the same lessons. So either you are rebranding or you are branding afresh. Take the same lessons. All right. Now this is it. So it's for an established brand that we rebrand. All right, with the aim of influencing perception, customer engagement, and market positioning. Now, this is actually exactly what I had just explained. All right, so the primary essence of rebranding is actually to revitalize brand image. Now, for example, how many of us are aware of what is happening um, to one of our top tomato producing company in Nigeria, Risco, right? So now we've heard about that argument going on the internet. So what is happening at the moment is that they've engaged a PR platform which are actually intentionally trying to rebrand. All right. So whether they are doing it the best way or not, we are not talking about that. But we are talking about the fact that there is a point where rebrand and PR is brought into play. So the rebranding is to revitalize the brand image, is to change perception, is to tell the people who they are against what they thought. All right. So this is it. In market perception, what people discover about you, all right, is what they will believe. So now in that perception, you have to intentionally create that brand image. All right. Now this is it. One of the reasons brands spend more time to engage influencers, spend more time to carry out what they call campaigns on media platform is not because they are not having sales. Most times is because many a times there has been a wrong perception. So they are engaging those influencers to send a different image. All right. Now there are brands that have entirely changed their name. All right. They went back because the first name has been soiled. They've done everything in their PR process to regain their brand image, and then it didn't work out. So what they did was, since we already had a brand and then we have our products, the only thing we need to do is to rebrand. It has happened so many in these markets, that in this country, that most of us still buy from the same company that we didn't know had rebranded. So now the primary essence is to revitalize the brand, whether it's damaged or maybe the sales has dropped. All right. When you have market decline, you should know that it's time to rebrand. When you have struggle to actually gain an important market share, you should know that it's time to rebrand. All right. If you are struggling to redeem your image, you should know that it's time to rebrand. If you adopted all the PR strategies and it did not work, you should know that it is time to rebrand. All right. So the second reason why rebranding is very important at in your business is actually to adapt to changing market trends. You know, the first example I just cited for you here about Transsion, Techno, Infinix, and ITEL simply tells you that these people sat back and understood the market trends. Right? When you understand market trends, you will know that I started out as a website designer in 2011. And then it was going all rosy. And then I started out with a brand name called Team Tech Solution. In fact, as of today, Sylvester most times will still call me Team Tech Solution or Team Tech. Now, reason is that I promoted that brand, all right. I carried that brand in a way that the brand was more popular than myself, that so many of my friends, colleagues, and others were actually calling me by my brand name, Team Tech. Now, at a point, I realized that the market trends had changed. All right, people were not just only interested in developing websites. So one of the things I discovered was that at the end of the year, 1 year after you've developed a website for a client, they don't renew it. So I found out what the problem was. The problem was not owning a website. The problem was being able to have an effective use of the website, for the website to be able to generate revenue for the company. So I decided that it was time to rebrand and transition. All right. So I changed my brand name from Team Tech Solution, which actually looked quite local, to Marketing Lab HQ. All right, now Marketing Lab HQ became a household name for a technology and marketing agency. All right, handling both technology solutions and marketing solutions. All right, so it now gives me and my brand an opportunity to serve them with my technology services, and at the same time also serve them with overall marketing services for the company as well. So what did I notice? I noticed that the dynamics of businesses were changing. People were no more actively doing flyer marketing, working on the street sharing flyers. Now people had immediately begun to adopt digital marketing. So I had to reposition and rebrand to be able to take a market share for myself. Are we still together? I want to be sure that we are good.
Yes,
Yep,
yes.
yeah.
All right. So at the point when you see that trends have changed, please change. I don't know which industry some of us are playing here. For instance, if you are playing in the real estate industry, you need to understand that what real estate used to be had changed. All right. So people that use the categories of people that used to buy properties in Nigeria have actually reduced. All right. From the five categories of people who were actively buying properties to three categories of people who were actually buying properties, who are buying. All right. Now you need to know that there has to be market segmentation. And then after segmenting it, you have to also understand that you have to move with trend. Like one of the categories being the creative industry income earners, which are those buying at the moment, but in their mindset they do not want to buy properties. So in this category of people, you sell to them based on the market trends. All right, you sell to them based on their emotional excitement. All right, I wouldn't be able to delve deeper into that. So now the next purpose of rebranding is to achieve new audiences. I just told you, when you have been selling to a particular audience and you realize that as a country, as a region where you are selling to, you are beginning to experience decline. Now let me bring in, for instance, in service providing, for service providers rather. Let's assume that you are actually providing services for the earliest customer. For example, you are a UI developer, and then the only category of people that you are designing for are mostly, let's say, banks. And you realize that at a point, the banks in the country are going through tough times, and then they are not able to actively rebrand, so to gain, to have a need for UI and UX redesigning. And then you, at that point, you know that if you keep depending on banks, you are going to run out of business. So at this point, audience segmentation and new audience acquisition must come into your mind. All right, this is a point where you bisect your products, where you bisect your services. All right, if you were only offering a service for 1,000, 1 million, 1.5 million naira per service, you need to know that I mean, at this point, you need to bisect. You need to have what we call productization. You need to productize your services. Productizing your services simply means that there is a category of there are a category of people rather who are not going to be able to afford 1.5 million for your service, but they still need that service. The moment you have productized your service, you've simply identified a particular audience who are not going not they are not going to buy your time. They are going to buy what you have packaged. All right. Now they are going to use their time to execute. But then you have actually packaged your time in one product and then hand over to them. Now, this is exactly how I have been able to productize some of my products, some of my services rather. Now, for instance, there are a category of people who are not going to afford my physical training, whom I charged the least 75,000 naira monthly for the training, 1 day training. And then there are certain people who are saying, it's too much. Don't you have the recorded version? And I will say, yes, there is a recorded version and it's sold for lesser. And then they are able to buy it and then go through it at their convenience. And it still serves the same impact. But the difference is that my time is controlled. I did not sell them my time. I sold them my products. All right. So if you are going to sell time, you know that it's more expensive to sell your time than to sell your product. So you have to understand the audience, segment them, and segment your services. Bisect your services, bisect your product. Don't say I don't sell to this category of people. As a matter of fact, in product retailing, most importantly, if it is vanity product, the poor buy the more. All right, the poor buy the more. How do I mean? Now, the rich actually buy once in a while. Reason is that the poor have so many reasons to prove a point, but the rich don't have reasons to prove any points. They are the points. So now you realize that the poor dresses more than the rich. So they buy fashion items quite more than the rich because they want to establish a fact. I am not poor. They want to actually let the people believe that they are not poor. All right. So they want to try as much as possible to build a perception that is not their reality. But the rich are already in their reality, so they have no point to prove. As a matter of fact, someone recently bought one of our products and then offered to pay 3 times. So the product arrived, the location never told us, I've just used the money, but I want the product. I will pay 3 times. At the moment, I've transferred 25,000. The product was actually 70,000. I've transferred 25,000 to your delivery person. I will transfer another 25,000 later. Then the 20,000, I will pay it later. So keep the item for me. Let him keep it at that location. So what does that mean? The rich will never take that particular measure. If they cannot afford it at that time, it has to be postponed. So what do I mean? When you are segmenting your product market process, please do not totally remove the poor. Find a way to massage their ego. If you are selling vanity, they will borrow to buy. That's a fact. They will borrow to buy. They are the people owing loan sharks. They are the people owing friends. They are the people pressuring their boyfriends. All right. They are the people pressuring their parents. Okay. So do not excuse them. Pressure them more. Give them, choke them again. Keep choking them. So the truth is that what I'm trying to explain to you is that in audience segmentation, you have to be able to carry everyone along, but focus on selling your time to people who can afford. Those who cannot afford your time, sell them the product. So productize your services and sell the product to those who can't afford your time, and sell your time to those who can afford your time. All right. So the last thing on the purpose why rebranding is important is that to align with evolving company values and goals. All right. So you see, maybe when you started out, you just wanted to produce earphone, all right, and then as you evolved, you realize that, man, you've gone beyond earphone to producing airpod, all right, from producing airpod to now producing other devices. So you have evolved in business. So at that point, rebranding becomes important. Now let me ask, how many of us know the first product of Nokia? Talk to me now.
Mobile phone, of course.
Sorry?
Mobile phone.
Mobile what?
Mobile phone
No.
device.
The first product of Nokia was actually toilet paper. Yes. The first
Wow.
product they were selling was toilet paper. So you see why rebranding is actually very important. It has to be an integral part of your brand. The first product Nokia ever created was toilet paper. You see, it's only in this part of the world that we are so emotional about the first business we started. All right. So the business had failed like 5 years ago, that business had failed. But you are concerned about what people will say. So you don't stop producing. You are producing, people are not buying, and it's getting damaged. Okay, people are buying, and you are not getting the right market share. You are still there. Now, Nokia produced that, and knew that they can't actually go far selling toilet paper. All right. And then they had to evolve. So one of the reasons for rebranding is that at the point when your business had evolved beyond what your values were, you have to also evolve your brand, all right, beyond what it was, to match up with today's values and the next goal that you have as a business. All right. If your next goal is actually to sell to top class people, for instance, okay, let's say you are targeting celebrities. So there is a category of people who buy properties who don't buy from just anyone. They are called the wealth preservers. If you are going to be selling to the wealth preservers, you have to first of all evolve your brand. You have to rebrand and be seen as one who is actually at par with the category you are trying to sell to. All right. You cannot try to sell a product of over a billion looking like 200,000. So it's not in the appearance, so to say, it's in the communication. You know, there are people who actually are not confident in communicating what they are offering. For example, you are offering UI or UX design, you are offering web development services, you are offering data analysis services, and then a company is asking you for a proposal, and then you are busy telling them their problem. There is no way that you have addressed their solution. They knew their problem before they asked for your proposal. They've already analyzed their problems. So now what they needed to know in your proposal is that, are you able to come up with a solution to these our problems? Now, while you are coming up with the solution, they need to know how you are communicating the solution. See, an authority knows how to establish it. You know, people of certain categories don't buy from people who say they can. They buy from people who have established authority in the journey that they promised to deliver. All right, so let's go. So be as much as possible intentional in your brand. All right. So now, why should you rebrand? At the moment, if you have market decline, all right, if you are decline if you are actually having declining in market share, it's time to rebrand. If you are trying to evolve in your customer preferences, it's time to rebrand. All right. If there is a negative brand perception, it's time to rebrand. I just cited one of our top tomato producers. I use that because it's easy to relate. There's been a lot of controversies around that. All right. So it's actually the same problem that Nokia is having. How many of us are aware of the number of phones Nokia has tried to bring up in the Android version since they lost the market share? They've actually tried to come back a couple of times. Still, it's declined. They've still not been able to gain the market share. But I don't know who consults for them. It's actually time to rebrand. It's no more. They've tried in their PR, all right, integration PR. It's still not working. So it's time to actually rebrand. Nokia needs to go in again and then come out with a different brand. All right. They need to die Nokia as a brand. All right. It's time to evolve. They need to drop Nokia as a brand. You know, when Apple needed to rebrand, there are certain things they dropped. When Google needed to rebrand, there are certain things they dropped. It happens in every business. Have you seen how Elon Musk has been moving? If you see how Elon Musk has been moving, you realize that he is not actually emotional about any product that he comes up with. Once this one is created, gain the market share, gain authority, makes enough money, the next mindset is a new product. This product has held on to the market well enough. One of the reasons why Apple has stayed as relevant as it is today is they keep creating hunger in the market. And the truth is that, do you know what they sell? Apple actually do not sell phones. All right, they sell class. That's what they sell. The truth is that, have you seen an iPhone user putting the phone in the pocket? And most importantly, the middle and the average class. It's hard for them to keep the phone in the pocket. The reason is that they have classified themselves and they want the people seeing them to do so. And so the company have been able to place that brand in them. That's why you could see that there was an agitation when a law came up that every mobile device should be using a universal charger, Type C. So now the iPhone users were angry because the moment you ask them, can I use your charger? Oh, sorry, I'm using iPhone. All right, so it made a classification. To them, they've been able to classify themselves. They are now better than you. So you can, what the phone I'm using is not the kind of charger you can use with any phone. If you are not an iPhone user, you can't use it. So that's actually the mindset they've created. So you have to be able to give a different perception. The moment your brand has gained too many negative perception and you've tried PR remedy and it's not working, because there is something called damage control in public relation. All right, if you've tried the damage control in your public relations processes and it's not working, you've adopted every other recommendations in public relation and it's not working, it's actually time to rebrand. When you have rebranded, you realize that the same product that was rejected would gladly be bought. In fact, when you are rebranding, come up with good enough PR that will penetrate the market again and give you the share. All right, so merger or acquisition. At a point when you have a merger, it's time to also rebrand. I'm sure that you all knew when Access Bank acquired. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, sorry to cut you in. I think I wanted to ask, don't you think the branding is also, it's, let's say, consume a lot of financial constraint and logistics? So what I mean is, for to do a brand is almost like giving birth to like a newborn baby and then try to, like, nurture this brand to grow, as against an existing brand that have built a lot of reputation. Everybody knows them. So don't you think the time and the finance is so much to invest on the branding? So that's my question.
Okay, so the question I'm going to ask is, to lose your brand and to spend to save the brand, which would you rather prefer? Rebranding is not cheap. PR is not cheap either. So instead of continuous damage control PR, the focus on that resources should be to rebrand and re-strategize market penetration. All right. So rebranding is not cheap. It's not actually an easy click. That's why most people run away from it. But at a point when the market has rejected your product, you are going to lose more by solely staying stubborn. Is actually one of the reasons why Nokia CEO could publicly put up a cry while having their press conference. All right, he said nothing wrong, but still we lost. So it simply means that they knew when the market decline was happening. All right. They knew when the market was evolving. They knew when the perception was going against them. And they still refused to rebrand. So the market ate them.